All right, we are resuming work on our Boxy zipper pencil pouch. And for the next steps, we are actually going to sort of strengthen our fabric a little bit. And we do this to create just a little bit of a stiffer, heavier weight so that our bag can hold up to the use and abuse that we're going to put it through of daily wear and tear. So we've got our fusible interfacing cut, and you'll notice that the pattern piece for that is just a little bit smaller. It's about 1/4 of an inch smaller around all sides than our main body fabric. And when I kind of hold my fabric out like this, right, you're used to seeing it like droop, but because the interfacing has been ironed to it, it has stiffened it up pretty significantly. And that's going to help kind of hold that 3-dimensional shape of our Boxy pouch when it is all constructed. And it's just going to kind of improve the overall durability. Now, the fusible interfacing can be a little challenging to work with. This stuff comes in a roll, and you can see that when it's cut from a roll, it tries to hold that shape. And we can't really just iron this to help it lay flat because it has adhesive on the interfacing, and that's so that we can iron it to our fabric and it sticks. So if we iron this to lay it flat, it's going to stick to the iron or stick to our ironing board. So we have to work around this funky shape. The piece that you have assigned to you has already been cut so that you can get your 2 pieces of lining out of this one piece. I recommend that you fold your interfacing in half, lay it out flat on your ironing board, take your pattern, line it up with the already cut edges, and then pin in each of the 4 corners in order to develop just a little bit of rigidity here and make it much easier for you to cut these pieces of interfacing away from the pattern pieces. Once you have your pattern pieces cut out, you are going to iron them to the wrong side of your fabric. It could be the lining fabric, it could be the exterior fabric. It's not really going to make much of a difference because they're all going to be assembled together eventually. But you should know which side the adhesive is on. So we have kind of a matte side. There's no shiny finish or appearance here. And then on the reverse side, hopefully the camera is catching some of that light. There are these shiny little dots all across the surface. The surface that has the shiny dots is the side that has the adhesive. So you want to make sure that that is the side that is facing down towards the wrong side of your fabric so that when you iron this in place, it is going to stick to the fabric and not to your iron. You can always use a pressing cloth, a very thin kitchen towel, or you can even just use another piece of fabric over the top of this to help lay it down nice and flat and prevent your iron from sticking to the backside of the interfacing. As you press this down, you want to make sure that it doesn't move around too much, that it stays pretty well centered on your fabric. And then you want to let it cool for a couple of minutes before you try to pick at any edges to see if it has actually adhered to your fabric. So you're going to have 2 fabric pieces that have your fusible interfacing adhered to the wrong side. Then your remaining pattern pieces, these smaller rectangular pieces, are going to be ironed. So for the piece to create your tab, it's just a little rectangle, right? We're going to fold it over in half on our ironing board, and then we're going to press it into place. It won't take very much time to do this. In fact, if you're working with a partner, you could both do this step right next to each other on the ironing board in order to speed up this process. It's going to be very hot when I take my iron back. Let it cool for a moment. Maybe do your next piece while you're waiting for this one to cool. And then we're going to open this up. And see, we've got a really nice crease. It wants to stay together. And then we're going to fold our edge to the inside where that crease is. And we're going to press that into place along its edge. We're going to do the same thing on the opposite edge. Fold it to the center, press it into place, and then finally, we're going to take this piece and fold it so that those cut edges are on the inside of our tab, and then we're going to press that just one more time to make sure that it holds its shape. And then we're going to place just one pin in it, and I recommend pinning along this open edge. And we're just going to use that pin to help hold its shape while it cools down so it doesn't try to uncurl. We'll do the same to both pieces. And then both pieces will go to the side. For our other two rectangles, we're going to fold them the short way and press them just in half to create the guards for either end of our zipper. Okay, so now we've got our 4 small pattern pieces dealt with, and we have our interfacing adhered to 2 of our main bag pieces.